Hello, everyone. This is Milagros Soriano Rivera, Color of Woman teacher, guild member, and MUSEA team member. I am hailing from San Antonio, Texas, land of the Humanos and the Tankawa. And I am here as your host for another wonderful interview for our Living the Legend mini series. And today I have with us our lovely Ali Markotich, one of our Color of Women teachers. And she's done so much for our community and created so many beautiful offerings just out of pure love, which is what intentional creativity is about, just love in action. The series was actually started as we led in from our legend journey, which is a prerequisite for our Color of Woman intentional creativity process training, actually. And give me a moment. One second. I'm sorry. Someone was passing by and I didn't want that to be caught. It happens. Technology.
It's
Um, so we started this process as part of our legend prerequisite course for the Color of Woman certification and training program for teacher training. And now we are stepping into the Color of Woman 21-22 season, and that starts October 1st. So Ali is here to help share the word about how Color of Woman training and becoming a graduate has helped her in her path. So with that said, Ali, please tell us about yourself. Welcome.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, thank you. And first, I want to say happy birthday to Millie because it is her birthday today, in case you didn't know. So happy birthday, Milagros. We love you.
Thank you. I'm so glad I'm here sharing this with you on this special day.
So my journey with Color of Woman, I am a graduate from 2018, and the way that I found Color of Woman was, I mean, I really do believe it was like serendipity, synchronicity, whatever it was, because I actually had limited knowing of Shiloh. Had been told about her by a friend and went online and checked out her work. And at that time, I was beginning to discover the sacred feminine and wanting to do more and learn about the sacred feminine. Didn't really know what it all was, but had that draw. And so, anyways, I signed up for emails, and honestly, I don't remember receiving a lot of emails from IC at that time. However, all of a sudden, one day, this invitation for Color of Woman pops up in my inbox, and it was like everything that I want. It just listed everything that I felt like I knew I had it in me. Do you want to be, a healer with creativity? Do you want to bring your teachings to other people? Do you want to use color for, and I was just like, yes, 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 yes. And I just, kind of like dove in both feet without really being part of the IC community for really at all. I just like randomly signed up for the application. So it was kind of crazy. But I was at a transition. I was just at a transition point in my life.
Right. So it was crossing you. You weren't getting the previous emails building up to anything, but the one that you needed is the one that you received, and that's the one that you just said a wholehearted yes to, right?
Yeah, that was it.
So there you go. Yeah, and I love it because it's like you tell that story and you think you missed something, but it may not have been time. And as you missed every other email, is like
Right.
This is the time that you received it, and that's why it's you see it.
It truly right, exactly. It was just one of those, like I said in the beginning, kind of a serendipity. It was just happened right when I needed it, and I've never looked back.
Oh, I witness you. And it's funny, as I've been doing these interviews, I noticed that all of us have the same, and I include myself, that same like right place, right time. You don't know what you're looking for, but as soon as, and it's about the spoken word too. Like when you hear something or you read something, it resonates. Like that's really energy moving, and it hits you, and your body receives it, and that spark just like, whoa, that's what I needed,
Oh, absolutely. And I remember in 2018 the red thread calls, like all the calls were still on the phone.
Oh,
So there was no, at that point, it was right before they had kind of switched to the platform onto Zoom. And so I just remember calling in to this like phone number, and they passed the thread like via the phone. So all you could hear were different women's voices from around the world. And I just was like, what portal have I just, come through? This is like so amazing, because I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. They're all really soulful. They're deep. They have just such heart and such love. And that was also something that just drew me right in. Like, I want to be part of this community. Whatever this is, I want to be in it.
And you hadn't even seen them. It was more just the voices
Right.
and you still felt that connection. And that's how powerful this talus. Yeah, that's how powerful the red thread is that a lot of people see us passing and they're like, what's with the thread? I'm like, it is so powerful. Like just knowing that someone else is holding us, it's just changes your life. Like I've come to I depend on it so much from day one.
I'm such a huge believer in the red thread. I feel like this is such medicine that can just change the world. If we all learn how to really hold circle and do it with love, I just see it being such an important piece to take out.
There you go. And you mentioned that when you found the red thread, you got into the community, it also had an impact on your religious view as far as like your practices. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I had been I'd been very involved with my local church, and was volunteering and just spending a lot of time. And I had taken coursework in spiritual formation, which is essentially the practice. It's just essentially spiritual practices for around communion with the divine and that sort of thing. And my tradition is Christian tradition, and so it was a lot of studying of like ancient monks and mystics and the desert fathers and mothers, all of that kind of stuff. And what ended up happening was through that coursework, I was reignited with my creativity as a practice of prayer and as a practice of communion with the divine. However, I knew that there was a way to take it deeper. And I knew that there was a way for greater access, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to get there. And, in your typical, church, you're just not going to find, you're not going to find the people, and so, essentially once I found Shiloh, it's like the method of, the Color of Woman, the 13-step painting, the metacognitive drawing, the, matching the, the artwork with the written word, just all of it was like, I had been doing it, a little bit here and there, but like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing with it. And so Color of Woman just gave me so much. It gave me the structure initially, right? And then it gave me the freedom to liberate and interpret it in the way that I need to interpret it for the work that I do with people. And so, it's just so awesome, such an awesome gift.
Yes, it is. It is. And the gift to be able to take our soul desires and put them into such a beautiful form, and for it to be so authentic and so organic, and to look and have this being looking back at us and knowing that being is part of us and it is us, is just such a beautiful gift. So I definitely witnessed you in that, and that resonates so much because I feel that way each time I paint. I know that part of Color of Woman, we paint 5 major paintings, and Legend is always one that we do over and over. Now, the one behind you, you said was your Legend, your second one.
So that's what was interesting. So because when I joined on Color of Woman, I was new. So I started with like a Diva X painting, and I did Tea with the Midnight Muse. And then I jumped right into Legend. This Legend, she came after Color of Woman. And for me, it was almost like really the completion of the Color of Woman cycle was to do Legend again, because after doing the work for a year, it was like I just felt like this Legend was a launching point for me for the work that I was called to do in the world. And it was, I think the final painting for Color of Woman is Visionary. So I did my Visionary painting, but really coming back and threading it through the Legend process of creating that story. And I that moment when you have the visioning and you vision your Legend and who she is and what she says to you. This Legend is so different than my first one, and she's much sassier, saucier,
she got grit,
and very soulful, and very much was all her question to me was all about, what are you hungry for? And follow that hunger and keep going with it, and it's like, you already know what you're hungry for. It's almost like I don't really even need to be asking you. You already know what you're hungry for, so follow it. And just, there was a lot of sensory with her. So all of those up there are like the chimes, the bells, and then she's in the nighttime, and I don't know why, but like there's this one story about Nicodemus, who was a Pharisee, and he goes and he finds Jesus in the middle of the night, and I just always have loved that story, because in a lot of ways I feel like the people who are the questioners and the ones who are in inquiry, deep inquiry for their life, they are the ones who are waking up in the middle of the night hours to go seeking, whatever that looks like. And so that, I don't know, that just always has resonated with me around the nighttime and and the mystery that lives in the dark.
Yeah, that mystery, that shadow world and that place. Because a lot of times we're just afraid of the dark because we've been trained to be. We've gotten so many different connotations about what darkness is. And I think our juiciest parts live there. And it's up to us to shine the light into those dark little spaces and find those treasures, I mean,
so true.
Sometimes you have to go digging, and there's darkness until you break that ground and the light can actually hit whatever's been buried, so this darkness is such a powerful symbol for a lot of things, transcendence.
Oh, I mean, it's such for me, it's just such the representation of wholeness. It's like it can't always be all about the sun and the light and the joy. It's like it has to also include welcoming the difficulty in a way, and not necessarily liking it, but how can you bring it compassion? How can you show it love? How can you sit at the table with it, even if you don't like it?
Yes, ma'am. I hear that all the time. Is we learn how to reconcile, and also be with those things that we don't like, and how they've made us, informed us as well, instead of seeing them as something that's broken us down or put us behind and set us back. Sometimes those things are just there so we have more time to be with it and explore. So we do take that little thing, it's like fermentation. Sauerkraut doesn't happen in a day. You have to let it sit. I don't even like sauerkraut. I have no idea where that came from. That was her. What is your Legend's name?
Oh, her name is Soul Mama.
Soul Mama.
Soul Mama. And And she also has the infinity goggles on her eyes. And I like to call those sacred goggles. And in
Mm.
a lot of some of the courses and stuff that I've done, I always talk about putting your sacred goggles on and wearing them, and how, there's these little, there's these like moments all around us all day long. And if we have our sacred goggles on, we're more likely to notice that the sacredness that's right here with us. And so much is the slowing down for the details, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. So, the hand.
Oh, the hand. Oh, her hand. Yeah. So her hand is the hand of, so in iconic Christian art, a lot of times Jesus has his hand with the three fingers, and that's the hand of blessing. And I really, a lot of times I have hands in my art, but as I was working on her, I really felt strongly that that was the positioning of her hand that she wanted. And there's just not a lot of art, feminine art, where it's a woman shown blessing, or a woman in those powerful positions of leadership and of of voice and all of that kind of stuff. And so that has always, I've always loved that about this painting, because in some ways, to me, it's almost like it's very subversive in a way, right? Like you're not going to pick up on it unless you actually are familiar with art and familiar with, like iconic Christian art and that sort of a thing. And then also the realization that of the disappearance of so much sacred women in art. It's all been hidden away, burned, whatever, it's so much of it. And so, so that draw, I do like to do, I like to push the envelope a little bit with things that, so in a way that's my way to kind of push back at the institution and the powers that be, is just that really, it's really subtle, but if you're paying attention, you might pick up on it.
Yeah, no, but I love it. I think, which one was it? She's one of the few that I've actually had have a hands on it, and I'm working my way to painting more full figured muses. But right now, I love her energy, and that's the way she wanted to come out. So I understand having the hand; it's very important. And my previous legend actually had a handprint on one of the other symbols. So having the hand is really, is powerful. For me, the hand has always been a powerful symbol, because it's my symbol for creativity. My hands have meant so much for me.
Yeah. The hands, they're so gestural, right? Like they express so much. A hand gesture can express so much in the way that it is, the way that it's pictured, whether it's holding something or, a hand on the heart. For me, it changes the whole scene of what's happening on the canvas.
Yeah. So you're saying this is your second legend, and your first legend is for, like, you did it, but you didn't know what you were doing. And after you went through the Color Woman, you felt more grounded and more sure of yourself, and even wanted to go deeper. So when you did her,
well, I'll tell you, that first legend, it's so funny because I didn't know what I was doing, and yet I was so blown away. Like, I couldn't believe that that this image was coming forth from the canvas. I just was like, who lives inside of me? Who is this person doing?
Who lives here? She does. She is so amazing. Oh my gosh. I can't stop staring at her. Like, really.
Well, I mean, so, it's like each painting I did as I went through Color of Woman, it was all, one of the other things that I've always loved about the process is you just never know who's going to show up. And, sometimes you don't want who shows up. Sometimes there's a little bit of a battle that happens. And And that too has been such a incredible teaching for me is, you know, being with those muses who come and are very, very, strong, and you're like, oh my gosh, like who do we have here? What's going on?
Yeah, and sometimes our own paintings intimidate us, right? It's like that's not me, like but you realize that it's an extension of you, but it's a part of you that you don't even know until they show up on the canvas, and that's one of the most powerful process, gifts that going through the Color of Woman process is. It is a true journey of you exploring so many different facets of yourself as you go through go around this compass, and this alchemical compass, and the four directions, and these 4 or 5 archetypes, because you never thought yourself as a visionary, or
Right.
as are not a lot of them say, I'm not an artist, like all of that. I'm not a legend. And every time you do legend, it's like you're so different. After every painting, you're totally different. Like if they took you and put you under a microscope, your molecules wouldn't even look the way they did when you started the class 6 weeks before. So I love it, because I've grown so much, and I'm grateful for my journey, and sharing and being in the same space with you, because we're all in the same place.
I mean, I always think, Shiloh, I don't know if she has a poem, but she always talks about, she doesn't live at the same zip code anymore. And I love that, because I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. It's just like, where am I? What am I doing? And yet it's like just the most incredible thing.
Yeah, because I've always had a bad sense of direction, but it's like when I go through the process, and when I connect myself to this process, and be in intentional creativity, I can actually say I don't feel lost anymore. Not in that way. When it comes, like within myself, I feel like I'm not afraid of being lost. And I always told the jokes, like I almost failed military basic training because they always asked me where was north, and I'm like, north is always in front of me. I don't care where the North Star is. I don't care which way the arrow is pointing. North is always in front of me. And this process is like, I always feel like I'm going in the right direction, no matter which way I'm headed. And we always have the option and the way of getting back to our center, which is the legend. And I think that's why that legend process seems to be one of the strongest and the most powerful ones in the journey, regardless of when you take it or how many times, because it's sort of a recentering.
Yeah, it's a recentering, and one of the things about each of the paintings that I do, whether it's on my own, whether it's my own process that I'm working through, it's like once you have access to this process and you're pairing it with inquiry, and you're journaling, and you're doing when you're showing up to the work and you're doing it, it's like, for me, I just feel like there is so much content available to teach from, because it's like you could just take the hand, and I could journal for 15 minutes just about hands of gesture, hands of blessing, hands of care, hands of compassion, and make like a list. And then essentially there's something about that you can then go, how could I build a class around this? How could I invite others into thinking about their hands as blessing? And like, there you have it. Like, there's a teaching.
Yes. I have feedback. I'm not sure if you hear that.
Okay. I don't hear the feedback.
Okay, great. No problem. Just wanted to finish my thought, but then I thought I heard myself speak. Speaking of offerings, how many offerings have you been able to, have you created since becoming a Color of Woman teacher?
Well, after Color of Woman, like the way I initially started out was doing stuff just out of my house. I have a room in my house where I was able to invite people in, and so I would have groups of 5 to 7 people come over, and we would do things, and that was for about a year. And then kind of once the world kind of shifted, I kind of started to focus more online, and so I started to do some I have some video classes that are just available for people to buy and access. And then I and then I do some Zoom painting classes, and so, I mean, I've done quite a few. Yeah, I've done quite a few classes, and a lot of times it's like trial and error. Something. It's like I was saying that to you earlier. It's like sometimes I will do something, and when I get done, I just kind of assess it, and I go, okay, that could have gone on longer. Like I did like a mini painting course to do our tree women of wisdom. And it's interesting because I got so much information for myself doing that process. However, it was only a 2-week painting class, so it was like a really quick dive in. And I now realize, oh wow, that could have gone on. I probably could have done that for 4 or 5 weeks, but that's, I think that's also part of the process is you figure it out as you go and you try different things.
Yeah, definitely. Can you share your website with us?
Oh yeah. So it's soulkindling.com.
Okay.
And yeah, soulkindling.com. That's my website. And I have one course coming up in a couple weeks that is like a 5-week long course to do this like little book of hours. So it's like it's you're blessing your day through the hours of the day. And that it started the way I came up with this course is because I used to struggle I used to not have my sacred goggles. And so I struggled with seeing, where the light was throughout the day, especially if it was if you were doing the same routine every day, that sort of a thing. And so to really slow down and to really pay attention to the different hours throughout the day through intentional creativity, through creative practice, so it's a fun. I've done this class once before with a group and it was a lot of fun. And I just was like, I really want to revisit this for myself. Lately, things in the world, I'm like, I just need to get back to kind of slowing down for a minute and thinking about the different hours of my day with love.
Well, I want to thank you in advance for creating that offering because I signed up. So,
oh gosh, thank you.
And I'm looking forward to it because I need to slow down. And, with all of this saying yes comes, a little bit of chaos until you find your footing and your flow because you want to be where you need to be. So, but you always have to have time. And I believe that your offering is going to help me at least, be able to find that time and everything.
Thank you. I really am just so grateful for, I'm grateful for this work and I'm grateful for this community, and I think that is the other part of joining into any one of any one of these bigger courses through MUSEA is the community is just such a tremendous support and you meet such amazing people along the way.
You do. Well, I was going to ask you that, like, what would you say to anyone considering joining us for Color Women, or actually those who have already said yes? Like, what would your words of advice to support people?
Said yes. I mean, I'm just like cheering for you because it's, you're just about, you're just gearing up for such a amazing transformative experience. And and to just decide that you're going to stick with it, commit to it, show up for the work. I mean, it's intense. Color of Woman is intense, but it is a good intense. I mean, it's everything. If you just commit to showing up and doing the work, it's like you surprise yourself over and over again.
And you won't be alone.
And you're not alone. You're just not alone, and for anybody who's still on the fence about it, I mean, you always have to check in with yourself. Everyone knows their own, situation and what they can manage for themselves. But I definitely, my life would not be the same without Color of Woman. It's just, yeah. And I just think about just from my own family life, how much this has shifted my my outlook just for my own familial little crew of people that I'm with all the time, and role modeling something that a lot of kids maybe don't get to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's nice you're leaving that legacy for others to come after you and all those that are here now to be able to inspire them. And that's what I love too. Just by showing up for yourself, you're actually casting a great shadow, and other people will see and they want some of what you got.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said yes to Color of Woman. I'm glad you said yes to this interview. And I'm glad you said yes to creating from your heart and, to all the beauty in you.
Thank you so
Oh
much.
my gosh.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank
thank
you for inviting me here. I've loved it. And
I'm glad you did.
happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for taking time out to do this on your birthday.
It's okay. I wanted to share the love. It's my birthday, but again, I had to follow my heart and be here for the community, for myself, because witnessing you helps me. So it's a gift. Okay, I consider you a gift to me. So thank you. And with that, I want to say also thank you for those who joined us. Before we go, I want to let you know that Color of Woman starts October 1st. So just a week, a few days from now, right? Just about a week away. Priority enrollment did end last week, but if anyone did not apply and wants, you can still email sarah@musea.org. All right. And they will work with you. We'll be more than happy to work with you. You can also go to the website you see in front of you. If you can see the chat, it's colorofwoman.com, and you'll still be able to apply. And for the Color of Woman Intentional Creativity Teacher Training, so reach out to Sarah. Also, yeah, so Sarah Mardell is your contact person for that. We'd also like to invite you to look into our annual intentional creativity gathering called Vivid, and that you can find out at musea.org/vivid, musea.org/vivid, to find out details about the Vivid retreat we're having. And the retreat theme is tapestry, weaving our common threads. Okay, so wow, we're just so looking forward to it. Vivid. Last year we did Vivid and Legend together. This year we did Legend, and now we're doing Vivid on its own. And the theme is weaving our common thread through tapestry. So we hope we see you there. Again, we're looking forward to answering any questions about Color of Women teacher training, and Sarah will definitely take your requests. So please reach out. I want to thank you again, Allie. Thank you all who joined us for being the legendary women that you are. And I have one more interview coming up next week. So please stay tuned. We'll be back at 3 o'clock Pacific time for one more legend. With that, have a wonderful day, and may love be at the center of all choices.
Thank you.